Hello everyone, this is Tyson, one of your Miami trainers, bringing you a video on how to input a listing into the MLS. Now, before you enter a listing into the MLS, be sure to go to our main website, miamirealtors.com. Once you're there, there's going to be a button at the top that says MLS. Give that a click. That's going to take you directly into our MLS Resource Center, and be sure to read the rules and regulations, specifically the MLS policies and procedures, as well as looking over the MLS find sheet. Now, as we input that listing into the MLS, I'm going to go over some things to look out for whenever you're inputting that listing into the MLS. For example, be sure to check the MLS policies and procedures, specifically section 15.1.8, which says the following: the U.S. Department of the Treasury has sanctions in place against the following countries unless specifically authorized by Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, pursuant to 31 CFR 501.801, specifically the countries of Belarus, Central Africa Republic sanctions, Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, and Darfur, and Syria. Listings in the SCF MLS in countries where the U.S. Department of the Treasury has issued sanctions are not permitted. This list is current as of the date. The MLS rules were most recently adopted, and listing is subject to change with or without prior notice by the U.S. Department of the Treasury. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started entering a townhouse into the MLS. We're going to move over to the top where you see Add Edit. We're going to give that a click in order to input this listing into the MLS. Once we click Add Edit, that's going to take me specifically to the input section. And in order to enter a brand new listing into the MLS, you're going to click right here where you see Add New. All right, perfect. Now, you're going to be able to select any of these options with exception to the two options that you see here on the screen, but I want to make sure I cover what these are in the MLS. Whenever you represent a buyer from either a for sale by owner or directly from the developer, you have the ability to contact us so that we can record that sale in the MLS. For more information regarding this, all you have to do is go to miamirealtors.com/comp only sales. Once you're there, be sure to read the questions and answers as well as the summary. And as I mentioned, if you ever represent a buyer from either a for sale by owner or directly from the developer, you have the ability to submit the closing document, also known as the settlement statement, and the comp only sales reporting form so that we can enter that property into the MLS, so that we have that recorded sale in the MLS. Type of properties that qualify is single-family homes, manufactured homes, as well as condos, co-ops, and townhouse style property. All right, so we're going to go ahead and enter a townhouse into the MLS. So we're going to go directly into the RE2 option for condo, co-op, townhouse. All right, once we're there, we're going to be able to launch that listing. As long as the property is within one of the counties we serve, we can have the listing auto-populate, such as Broward County, Miami-Dade County, Indian River County, Martin, Palm Beach County, St. Lucie County, and Monroe County. If you ever want to input a listing specifically for a seller in the Tampa Bay area as an example, or any area outside of South Florida, you're going to go right here where you see out of area or no tax folio. Now, because this property that we're going to list today is located in Miami-Dade, we're going to be able to use the auto pop function by going here where you see Miami-Dade County. Now, when you're listing a property directly for a seller, all you have to do is visit this section here that says PID. PID means the property identifier, also known as the folio number. As long as you have the folio number, you can enter that here, and you can enter it with or without dashes. The more you put a lot of information into each one of these sections, the MLS may not locate that property. So a quick little rule of thumb is simply entering the folio number here under this section PID. For this example, we are going to locate the property directly with the address. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 24504, and the street name is going to be 115. And before I have the matrix system locate this property, I do want to make sure I mention there is a little button here at the very top that says copy listing. If you ever had a listing and the property is available again, for example, for sale and for rent, and you're in the same office, you have the ability to copy from any previous listing that you placed in the system, again, as long as you're in that same office code. I want to make sure I mention that. You have to be in the same office code, also known as office ID. If you're moved out of that office code, but you're in the same company, you're not going to be able to copy that listing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and locate the property that we're going to list today. We're going to go right here where you see search. And what happens is Matrix contacts IMAP to locate that property so that we can add it in the MLS. Now, sometimes the system is going to give you multiple suggestions, so be sure to see that the folio number is correct for the property, as well as the owner's name and address, county, and zip code. And once you locate that that is the correct property that you're going to list, you're going to go right here where you see fill. Once you click on fill, it takes you directly into the listing so that you can build it. As soon as you get into the listing, you're going to notice a section that says status. Now, if your intention is to launch the listing as active status, meaning it's going to be available today and not coming soon, you're going to go right here where you see location information. The section status is specifically if you're going to launch the listing as coming soon. And if you do decide to list the property as coming soon, you're going to click right here and then you're going to enter the date that you want the listing to go active within the MLS. If you do decide to use coming soon as your status, you do have the ability to put that listing as coming soon for a maximum of 21 days. After the 21st day, the listing will automatically become active in the MLS. So I want to repeat one more time. If you are trying to launch the listing as active today, you're going to skip this whole section and move directly into the section location information so that you can continue to build that listing. Once we get into the section location information, you're going to notice sections that are in yellow. Now these sections in yellow are required. The sections farther down, such as development name, model name, neighborhood, while these are optional, we do suggest to fill out as much information because you never know how that buyer agent is being told to search. For example, the agent might look for the property within the development by selecting the development name when they search. And that buyer's agent might be told to search for property nearest elementary school, middle school, or senior high school. So make sure to get that information directly from the seller or directly from IMAP. So we're going to cover that real quick. We're going to cover how to get the school information directly from the IMAP system. What you want to make sure that you do is click on Save as Incomplete. What that will do is provide you with a listing number. And then from there, you can click on the listing number. This is going to give you your listing that you're currently building. And from here, what we could do is either click on the folio number or the little IMAP icon at the very top. What that's going to do is open up another tab in our browser. And from there, what we can do is scroll down into the section Assign Schools so that we can enter the schools in the area of the property that we are listing. So we're going to go ahead and go back into Matrix. From there, in order to continue to edit the listing, we're going to go right here where we see Edit. That's going to take me right into the Modify Listing page. And then from there, I can go here where you see Select Form. Now, in order to get back into that listing so we can continue to build it, we need to click on the name of the property type. So for example, if you're listing a single family home, you're going to click on single family right here. Because we're listing a townhome, this puts us in the RE2 category. So we're going to click on condo co-op townhouse in order to continue to edit that listing. From there, we're going to go directly into location information, and we can from there refer directly to our IMAP so that we can enter the schools in the area. All right, from there I'm going to go directly into elementary school. The elementary school in the area is going to be Coconut Palm K through 8 Academy. So I'm going to go there under elementary school, locate Coconut Palm. We're also going to enter the middle school as well, which is Redland Middle School. And of course, also the high school in the area. We're going to go ahead and, for this example, enter under Senior High School, Homestead. All right, perfect. All right, and then from there, we're going to continue to build the listing. The next place that we're going to go is the area number. All right, now, when you're listing a property located in Miami-Dade, the area number is located specifically in the folio number. You're going to look for the third and the fourth digit of the folio number in order to enter the area number. So the third and the fourth digit of this folio number is 60. So we go right here where you see area number, We move down, and then we select in specific Area 60. And for Miami-Dade properties, you want to make sure that you know the municipal code, township range, section, subdivision number, and parcel number. All of this is specifically in the folio number. So the first two digits of the folio number is the municipal code. The next two digits is the township range, also known as area number. The next two digits is the section. The next three digits is the subdivision number. And the last four is the unique parcel number for that property in that complex area. All right. Now, as I mentioned, we're listing a townhome. However, some of these fields might be specifically for condos. For example, unit number. Now, this townhome does not have a unit number. However, the unit number, as you can see, is required. It wants us to put something into that section. What you want to make sure that you do so that the listing appears online with the correct address, there are national publishers that will only reflect the listing if the address matches the United States Postal Service. So do not enter a unit number if there is not a unit number for that property. What you're going to want to do is go into the section General Information, move down to section Style, and then we're going to go ahead and list a townhouse. So we're going to click specifically on T51 Townhouse Fee Simple. And when I go back into location information, it makes the unit number section no longer required. This is also something you want to look out for when you're listing a rental in the MLS, especially a single family home. A lot of agents go in there, they'll put something like not applicable. If you are listing a single family home for rent, do the same thing. Go into the section General Information and make sure that you select the appropriate style. That way the unit number field is no longer required. All right, from there we're going to keep going. The next field is unit floor location. And as you can see, we do get a lot of the information directly from IMAP, including the address, information, and legal description. Now we're going to go ahead and finish the location information, filling out the rest of the fields. All right, the next thing that we have is unit floor location. This is more of a condo field. We're going to go ahead and put something in here. So we're going to put 0 in specific. We do have total floors in building. Now this is a 2-story townhouse. We can go ahead and put 2 there. However, the building number of units in building do not apply directly for a townhome. So we're going to skip these 2 options. All right, we're going to move down. As you can see, we do have automatically the subdivision name filled out. However, we do want to make sure that we also input the name of the complex located here. So we're going to go ahead and put in Somerville. We're going to put the same thing as the development name. All right, and this particular property does not have a model name, so we're going to skip that. We're going to go ahead and enter the neighborhood for this property. While it is in Homestead, specifically the neighborhood for this property is Princeton, so we're going to go ahead and put that here. This option is optional. If you do have the number of units in that specific complex, you can go right here to input that information. Because it is in a white section, it is optional, meaning you do not have to supply information there, but if you want to do so, you can. All right. Now, because we use the auto population option, it automatically puts the property on the map based on the address. However, if you are entering a new construction property, you're going to want to make sure that you add the PIN. This section is required. Click right here where you see set lat long manually, and then from there, you can use the map in order to locate the property. Again, to this section, in the event listing new construction, and the map does not automatically pin the location. All right, we are done with this section. What we could go ahead and do is move down to the very bottom, click on validate. If I click on validate, it will let me know if I'm missing any specific information under this section. You're going to notice here that we have a little exclamation mark. This is letting me know that I have not finished the listing or I have not fulfilled all of the required sections. However, in location information, after I clicked on validate, I do not have that red exclamation mark. What that means is I am good to go to continue into the next section to build the listing. So we're going to go directly into the section general information next. All right, from there we have the very first field here on the left where it says short sale. Now this property is not a short sale. but I do want to make sure I explain what a short sale is. A short sale is a listing in the MLS where the homeowner is behind on their mortgage payments. They are still in possession of that property and they are trying to sell that property. The next field is short sale addendum. This is if there is an addendum specifically attached to the listing. You can select yes or no, and you have the option for lender approval, for approved or unapproved. Lender approval deals directly with short sales. The next field we have, which is required, you're going to notice it is in a yellow section where it says REO. This means real estate owned, meaning the property is owned directly by a bank. Now, the property we're listing today is not an REO, it's owned directly by the owner. So we're going to go here and select no. And we're going to move over to the right, enter a price of $425,000 as the list price. And if your seller entertains a lower price, you can enter a price here, such as $415,000, and a range price if your seller is interested in anything between these two prices. From there, we're going to move over to type. As I mentioned, we are listing a townhouse, so under type, we want to make sure that we click specifically on townhouse. This field right here deals directly with if you're listing a portion of a timeshare ownership for sale. So if you're ever listing a ownership of a timeshare, you have the ability to enter the amount of the ownership, meaning your share that you are selling, such as an eighth, a seventh, a fifth, a fourth, a half. You can also enter, if you have a different amount as the share that you own, you can select other share and you can enter the amount that you own under the section broker remarks. We're going to cover broker remarks in just a little bit. All right, because this does not apply, we're not going to enter information into this section. Right? And the next field that we have is ownership, where we can select, for example, corporation, limited partnership, other ownership, partnership, self-proprietor, individual, sole proprietor, sub-S corporation, fractional co-ownership, tenancy, and common. All right, this one does not apply as well, so we're going to keep going. And the next field we have is front exposure. This deals directly with the direction that the door faces. So for example, if the home faces the east, you would come here where you see front exposure and then click on the direction. For this example, we're going to go and select east because the outside door to the property is facing the east. The next two fields are optional. If you ever are, for example, listing new construction, maybe there was a property that was a tear down and was rebuilt, and the county has not updated their figures for square feet, you have the ability to enter in the total square feet under the section building area agent, and you could provide a source of where the square footage was provided, such as an appraisal, architect, engineer, building plan survey, developer, or owner. If the property is a resale, the county should have the square footage available. So you do not have to necessarily fill into this section. The square footage that appears online for the property is going to be the living area and the total area fields located here. Moving down, we have a field that says auction. So if you ever are listing an auction property, be sure to select yes. Enter the type of auction, such as absolute, minimum bid, or non-disclosure reserve. And be sure to add the auction form in your listing. You can locate the form if you are listing an auction in the MLS. You'll find that here in the MLS Forms and Application section, and then you'll give the auction listing form a click. You'll have that filled out directly with your seller, and then you'll add it as an attachment to your listing. Now, if you want to add an attachment to your listing, there is a couple of ways of doing that. One way is as you're building the listing, you can click on Save as Incomplete. When you do so, you're going to have an option to add photos or add attachments. Now, the next example that I want to show you is in the event you're building the listing, maybe you take a coffee break and then you log back in. When you log back into the MLS, that's going to take you directly into the Matrix dashboard. So if you ever want to add attachments or photos or get back into the listing, there's a couple of ways of doing that. You're going to see a section within your dashboard that says My Listings. From there, you'll be able to locate any incomplete listings that you can edit, or you can go here where you see My Matrix. You can move down to the section My Listings, and then you can switch the panel to My Visible Incomplete Listings. Once you locate the property that you want to edit, you simply click on the check mark and then click on edit. Another way of getting back into your listing is to go back into the add edit section. You'll find that incomplete listing here under quick modify, and then from there open this drop down menu, and then you can access the listing that you're building by clicking on it. And then once again, go right here where you see the property type, and then that's going to put you directly back into that listing so you can continue to build it. From there, we're going to go back into the general information section. Now, these next two fields are in the event that your seller wants you to list the property for sale and for rent. You're going to need two listings. For example, we're building the for sale listing, and if your customer authorizes you listing the property for rent, you're going to need to create another rental listing. You're going to click yes, and then you're going to enter the listing number right here for the rental. We're going to go ahead and put no because we're not going to create a rental listing, and we're going to keep going. All right, the next field is unit detached. Now, this is a townhome that is attached to two other units. It is the unit in the middle, so this property is not detached, so we're going to put no. From there, we have the option of including the balcony or porch or patio square feet. We can select yes and enter a value. From there, we have the year built, and then we can also enter the property age description. Now, this property is a resale. We're going to go ahead and click on resale. However, if you're ever listing a pre-construction property, meaning the county has not assigned a folio number for that residential property, be sure to click on under construction. What that's going to allow you to do in the section location information, not enter a folio number. Moving over, this property is not a waterfront, so we are going to select no for waterfront. However, if you're ever listing a waterfront property, make sure that it is indeed a waterfront property. A way that you can do that is by accessing the IMAP property record. This is going to tell you if the property is waterfront or not. This property is not waterfront, so we're going to go back into that listing and select no. All right, the next field is HOPA. This is specifically for properties that are in a 55 or older community. HOPA is short for Housing of Older Peoples Act. So because this property is not HOPA, we're going to click specifically on no HOPA. From there, we're going to move over to garage spaces. There is one garage space. We can also add a description for the garage. The garage is attached to the property. We're going to go ahead and select on attached. However, there is not a carport space. We're going to skip that and then move over to furnished. Now, you do have the ability under furnished to list the property as furnished, partially furnished, furniture for sale, or unfurnished. If you do list the property as furnished, you can include additional information such as furniture only, furniture negotiable, and turnkey furnished. All right. Moving down, we have the field dock space number. This is usually for condos and specific. You would enter the assigned dock space number of that customer, not how many dock spaces that they have, but you would come here under dock space number one more time in order to enter the assigned dock space number. So for example, your customer's dock space number is 367. You're going to go here and enter 367 as their assigned dock space number. You can also enter the number of assigned spaces, and you can list how many days that the property can be rented. I'm going to go ahead and for this example enter 365 days and enter lease period as once a year under lease time year. Moving over, we have the field governing bodies. This property is under a homeowners association, so we're going to click specifically on homeowner association, but there is other options such as builder control, co-op, condominium, no governing body, or other. Remember that these fields are pick lists, specifically when you're searching for a buyer. So if you ever have a customer that does not want to be a part of maybe a condominium association or homeowner association, you can certainly use the field governing bodies during that search. Homeowner association. We're going to keep going. We have the next field, which is main living area. The living area is going to be located at the entry level for this property, and we're going to move over to the field unit design. Now, you're going to notice in some of these categories, we do have the ability to make multiple selections. This one, we are limited to a maximum of 3. So what you want to make sure that you do when you have a limited amount of options in these fields, you want to put the best options for searches. So I'm going to go here under Unit Design. We're going to go ahead and select East of US 1 as well as Patio Cluster. And we're going to move over to the Parking Description field. From there, we're going to go ahead and select, again, a maximum of 3. We're going to go ahead and select 2 or more spaces for the parking description. And we're going to select guest parking because there is technically a little parking lot for guest parking for this property. And we're going to keep going. From there, we're going to go over to parking restrictions. This deals directly with if for example, the homeowners association has any restrictions on commercial vehicles or maybe specifically boats. You can go here under parking restrictions and enter any restrictions such as limited number of vehicles, no motorcycles, no RV boats, or no truck trailers. All right, because this does not apply, we're going to go ahead and move on. It is in a section that is white. We can move over to the next one, which is waterfront description. Now, as I mentioned, this property is not waterfront, so we do have the ability to skip this. However, if you are listing a property that is considered waterfront, make sure that you select the exact option for the waterfront type, such as bayfront, canal front, creek front, canal width 1 to 80 feet, canal width 121 feet or more, canal width 81 to 120 feet, fixed bridges, intersecting canal, intracoastal front, lagoon front, lake access, mangrove front, navigable, no fixed bridges, ocean access, ocean front, 1 fixed bridge, other waterfront, point lot, pond front, riprap, riverfront, or seawall. Again, waterfront is super duper important. We do, of course, live in Florida, and a lot of these buyers, when they move into Florida, they bring their boats. So make sure that you locate, for example, if they have a large boat, the canal width is going to likely need to be wide. All right, moving down, we also have a field for boat services. This is usually for condos, so we do have the ability to skip this, but if you are listing a condo and there is a boat service available, make sure to fill this section out. All right, moving down, we have the next section, which is features, where we can select up to 3 options for the view of the unit. If you're listing a property that has great views, make sure to select all of the applicable options located here under this section. Now, this property does not have a unique view, so we are going to select none for this example, and then we're going to move over into the next field, which is water access. Now, as I mentioned, this property that we're listing is a townhome. It is not a waterfront property, so we are going to skip this. But if the property is waterfront, do make sure to mention how the water accessed. All right, this next one is super duper important, which is floor description. We do have the ability to select up to 4 within this location. We're going to go ahead and select, as the example, tile floors and vinyl floors. From there, we're going to move over to the next required field, which is construction type, which we can select up to 4. This is going to be specifically what the property is made of. We have aluminum siding available, concrete block construction, brick exterior construction, brick veneer, concrete block with brick, CBS construction, composition shingle, precast concrete construction, elevated construction, frame with stucco, manufactured mobile home, metal construction, modular, all the way down to wood siding. What we're going to go ahead and do is, because this property is located in the Homestead area, it is only about 10 years old. Any properties currently being built in the Homestead area have to be concrete block construction. So we're going to select that option as well as CBS construction. Moving over, we do have a very important field when you're searching in the MLS, which is security information. For example, if you have a customer that wants to make sure that there is a security on site within the community, you can use security information. For this option, we're going to go ahead and select fire alarm, as well as burglar alarm and security patrol. Now, as you complete each section, as I previously mentioned, be sure to click on validate. Validate will let you know if you are missing any information specifically in that section. I do not have an exclamation mark for this section, general information, so that means I can keep going. The next section we're going to go into is remarks. The remarks section is where you can add a description of the property that you're listing. You can add up to 800 characters within the remarks description. However, if you have more things to say about that property, you do have a field further down within this section where you see supplemental remarks. This is where you can add more information regarding the property, and you can add up to 10,000 characters, specifically in the supplemental remarks or the Spanish supplemental remarks. All right, now we're going to go back up real quick. We're going to go back over to remarks. Now, while this section is not required, the description of the property when it goes online to online websites, the description that you put here is going to be what shows up on, for example, realtor.com. Now, the remarks that you enter into the listing, make sure that they abide by fair housing. For example, local, federal, and state. You can find within our miamirealtors.com/MLS page a section that says hot topics, and then we have a fair housing advertising guidelines. You could give that a click. That's going to take you directly to the Fair Housing Institute website, and you'll have a section here for fair housing advertising words and phrases list. So we're going to go ahead and create a property description using Agent 3000's Eve. We're going to move over to the left, and I'm going to go directly into the section Meet Eve, our AI. Now, for free, you do have the ability each month to create 30 listing descriptions, also known as listing remarks. You would just simply go into the Eve section, click on Create Listing Remarks, and you can create listing descriptions in English, Spanish, Portuguese, German, Chinese, Russian, French, and Italian. And because we can select up to 800 characters, if you do decide to use Agent 3000 to create those listing descriptions, make sure that you go to Account Type, switch that to Characters, and then you can enter a total count of 800. From there, you would select the property type. You would select the city, bedrooms, bathrooms, garage spaces, pool, backyard information, home office, flooring, kitchen appliances, and kitchen counters. And you can select up to 8 features that you want to focus in order to create that listing description. Now, down here we have a listing description that I created earlier using Agent 3000. As I mentioned, make sure that the remarks that is generated from Agent 3000, that you go directly into the Fair Housing Institute's website and make sure that you're using the preferred words and phrases listed here on their website. I'm going to go ahead and paste in the listing remarks that it generated. I also have the ability to describe the property in Spanish as well. I can enter directions on how to get to the property. I can also include directions in Spanish. And the next one that we're going to go over is input broker remarks. There's 2 of these. There is the input broker remarks and Spanish broker remarks. This is going to be the location where you can add specific information such as a telephone number and an email address. This is the only section that you can do that. You are not allowed to put your contact information in this section remarks. This is what goes online to online websites. If you do want to convey directly to other agents how they can contact you or any information pertinent to the transaction, you can mention that here under input broker remarks and of course Spanish input broker remarks. Also be sure to check page 14 of the MLS rules and regulations. Broker remarks are usually to convey how a property can be shown. For example, if there's limited availability or the property is occupied by the owner, you can mention the limited availability of that property, the dates that it can be shown, or how you would like to be contacted, such as your email address or telephone number. Further down, we do have the internet remarks. Now, while this stays in the MLS, as you can see, it is in yellow, meaning it is required. What you could do is write a little description of the property, or you can simply go into the remarks that you used in order to list the property, and then you can use a little snippet of the remarks there and put that here under the section Internet Remarks. You could also create a short listing description in Spanish as well. And further down in the section Office Remarks, this is only visible between me or anyone in my office. If I need to communicate anything directly to someone on my team, such as if I'm ever working a listing with another agent, I can go here under Office Remarks and then enter when I'm going to show the property and when that co-agent is also going to show the property. as well. Again, office remarks is only visible between you or anyone in your office. We covered this earlier. This is supplemental remarks. You do have the ability to describe the property that you're listing in an additional 10,000 characters in English and also located here in Spanish. All right, from there, we're going to click on validate to make sure that we are done specifically with the remark section. As you can see, we are not getting an exclamation mark, meaning we have fulfilled completing this section, and we can move on to the next section, which is rooms. Now, I do want to make sure I mention that when you list a property in the MLS, the bedrooms, full baths, and half baths numbers have to match what is in the county record. However, if you ever have a seller that converted, for example, the bathroom directly into a bedroom, you can go right here where you see converted bedroom, click on yes, and you can mention that additional space specifically in the broker remarks as well. If there is an efficiency available, for example, in the back of the home, you can select yes or no if that applies. And you can specify greater information regarding that additional room located here on the right. As this does not apply to this transaction, we do get to move on over to the section bedroom description, which we could select up to 4 in this category. All right, from here we're going to go and select primary bath shower. We're also going to select primary bedrooms upstairs. And we can supply greater information for the primary bath description as well. We can select up to 5. We're going to go ahead and select 2 primary bathrooms and dual sinks. Again, make sure that you're filling out as much information as you can when you're putting a property in the MLS, as you never know how these agents are being told to search by that buyer. If you do not supply information, your listing may not show up in results. Further down, we have the ability to include the dining description. We're going to go ahead and select for this one, family dining combination. We're going to move over to the ADA compliant section. ADA means the Americans with Disability Act. As this doesn't apply to the property, we do get to skip that. And we're going to move down to the section room information. Now, while this section is not required, you do have the ability to enter the dimensions of different portions of the home. For example, under room type, if you want to include the size of, for example, the kitchen, you can click on kitchen, enter the dimensions of the kitchen, for example, 12 by 10. If I want to add more information based on other sub areas of the property, such as the second bedroom, I can enter information based on the size of that unit, of that location. I can click on more to add other sub areas as well. If you clicked on more and you didn't mean to, you do have a little delete button that's going to remove and collapse that option. All right, we are done specifically with the section rooms. We're going to go ahead and click on validate. And we are good to go for this section. We can continue now into the next section, which is additional information. Now, as I previously mentioned, as you go through each section, be sure to click on Save as Incomplete. That way you are saving your work directly in the MLS. All right, the next thing that I want to cover real quick is how to add photos directly to your listing. So after you save that listing as incomplete, you're going to have the ability to click on Add and Edit Photos and the option to also add attachments. Now, sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, we do work on that listing. Sometimes we don't finish it until the next day. Whenever you go into Matrix and you want to add photos to your listings, once again, we have that My Listing section. You can click on My Incomplete Listings. That's going to take you back into that listing. Or I can go into Add Edit, select the listing in the drop-down menu. This is another place where I can add photos. I can click on Manage Photos or Attachments. I'm going to go ahead and click on Photos. And photos, they do have to be JPEG, JPG files, and they need to be a minimum of 1600 by 1200 pixels. And my recommendation is make sure that if you're using a photographer to take those photos, make sure that you are being provided with the display version of the photos. Sometimes the photographer may send you the sample version of the photos, and if you upload the sample version of the photos, They have a DPI that may make the image look super, for example, red, purple, etc. So make sure that you're getting the display version of the photos, and then you can click on Browse, and then you can go directly through your computer to upload photos from there. You would just simply click on Upload. Once you add the photos, you simply click on Certify and Save. That's going to save the photos directly to that listing. Now you can add photos before it's active and of course after the listing is active. However, per MLS rules and regulations, you have to add photos within 3 days of activating that listing. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go back. Another thing to know about is where you add attachments such as addendums. You would go right here where you see Manage Attachments. From there, you describe what the attachment is. So for example, if you're going to put the property as coming soon and you're adding the coming soon authorization form, you simply just type out coming soon form. You go directly into your computer, you locate the file, you click on upload, and then you select the attachment type. For this example, it's going to be the coming soon authorization form. From there, I click on upload, and then I click on save. That's going to take me directly back into the modified listing page where I can continue to build the listing. So I'm going to go right here where you see condo, co-op, townhouse. I'm going to go into the next section that we were working on, which is additional information. All right, so we're going to start from the left side of the page. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go to pets allowed. Pets are certainly allowed within my townhome community. So I'm going to select yes. However, this field, if you click on validate, you're going to notice that this field is also tied to other options if you select yes. So from here, we want to go under pet description and then add any specific information based on any restrictions for pets. For example, if there's no restrictions, you would click on none. If there are possible restrictions that may need to be defined within the broker remarks, we can do so by clicking on restrictions or possible restrictions and then expanding with more information in the broker remarks. If dogs are, for example, only dogs are okay, we can select dog okay, cat okay, maximum of 20 pounds or more than 20 pounds. But again, if there's no restrictions on pets, simply click on none. All right, from there we can enter if there is a pet fee. This is a required field. If it does not apply, meaning there is not a pet fee for that property, simply put a 0 to fulfill entering information there. Moving up, we have the field cable available. This deals with if the property is already set up for internet and TV. If you select yes, that means that internet and cable have been set up. If you select no, it means that it might be new construction and they have not set up cable for internet and TV there. This field is super duper important when you're doing a new construction search. So if you're ever doing a new construction search, for example, a single family home that was just built, I do suggest to search and look at the field cable available to determine if that property has internet set up from the outside. Moving over, we have the interior features, which we can select up to 7. I'm going to go ahead and select first floor entry. We're going to move down. We're also going to select closet cabinetry, cooking island, fireplace. We're also going to select further down pantry, and vaulted ceilings. All right, moving over, we have the next field, which is equipment appliances. We can select up to 14. We're going to select circuit breaker, dishwasher, disposal, dryer, fire alarm. We can also select washer dryer hookup, microwave, electric range, refrigerator, smoke detector, and once again we can select up to 14 within this category. Moving over, we have window treatments. Again, while this is not required, I do suggest to put information if this applies to the property. We can select up to 3. I'm going to go ahead and select blinds and shades, as well as high impact windows. We're going to move over to number of ceiling fans, interior levels. It is a 2-story townhome, so I am going to go ahead and put 2. And we can select up to 3 for exterior features. Now this is a field that is commonly used in order to search. It is limited to 3, so you want to make sure you mention the features of the property. So for example, we're going to go ahead and select within this menu, fruit trees, hurricane shutters, and patio. Moving over, we have the next field, which is what's included within the maintenance. We can include up to 14. All right, we have the next field, which is maintenance includes. This is what's included within the maintenance fee. We could select up to 14. All right, for this example, we're going to click on landscaping, lawn maintenance, parking, security, as well as trash removal. Moving over, we have the next field, which is amenities. We can select if there's any amenities within the community. From there, I'm going to go ahead and select, for example, exercise room, library, pool, and sauna. And we have the next field, which is restrictions. This is normally going to be for condos in specific. If there's any restrictions on the use of the property after purchase, we can select up to 3. This is a great option to use when you're searching for a condo. For example, you have a buyer that wants to buy a condo and they want to make sure that they can rent that property out daily, or if they want to make sure that the property can be leased that very first year, you can select OK to lease first year. As there is no restrictions for the property that we're listing, we're going to go ahead and select no restrictions. And we're going to move down to the section heating description and cooling description. For heating description, we're going to select electric heat, and then cooling description, we're going to select ceiling fans as well as electric cooling. And we have the next field, which is approval information. How long is it going to take for the buyer to be approved? Now this is a townhome. There is no approvals necessary. We're going to select no approvals, but be sure to use this field for other property types. Again, the name of the field is approval info. Moving over, we have the next field, which is equestrian features. This is going to be equestrian just simply means that it's a property surrounded by horse stables. So if this does not apply, do not fill that in. You can move on to the next section, which is storm protection. All right, now as you can see, once again, this field is not required, but you do want to populate the information. As I mentioned, you never know how that buyer's agent is being told to search. Anything that you do not fill in means that that property may not show up in results. So we're going to go ahead and put complete accordion shutters, complete impact glass, and we have the next field, which is green energy efficient. For example, if the property has solar panels, at the very top, what is the solar power? What is the solar power? What is the solar panels powering? We can list that here under this section, green energy efficient. All right, we have now completed this section, additional information, but let's make sure that we have indeed fulfilled filling out all the required sections. We're going to move down, click on validate, and we do not have any messages, and we do not have an exclamation mark. That means we are done with this section. We're going to now move into the final section, which is financial office information. All right, we're going to start on the left where you see terms considered. We can select up to 4. These are going to be the terms that the seller is entertaining. For example, the very first one I want to make sure I mention is all cash versus cash only. I get this question all the time. What's the difference between all cash or cash only? It's right there where you see cash only. If you select cash only, that should be the only thing that you pick within this list. It just simply means that the seller is only interested in cash deals. As to where if the seller is thinking is going to accept all cash, conventional loans, as well as maybe FHA or VA, you can select those additional options. But you are limited to 4, as you can see. Now there is other options located here. We do have in full, all cash, assumption, cash only, conventional, and we also have an option for cryptocurrency. So if you ever list a property in the MLS and the seller is listing it based on cryptocurrency, whenever you list the property in the MLS, the price that you enter under list price, it has to be in United States dollar. We also have exchange, FHA 2 or 3K, FHA VA approved, lease option, lease purchase, no terms, other terms, owner financing less than $20,000, owner holds second mortgage, wrap loan, which is what OWTP wrap means. It means if it's a wrap loan, which can be paid off with interest. We also have seller with pay closing costs and will rent within this menu. We also have assumable on the current loan on the property. We do have the ability to select yes or no. And we have another association field. This one is required in a homeowners association, so we do need to select homeowners association. But as I mentioned, these are search fields that you can use within the MLS. So if you ever have a buyer that wants to move into a property that is not under a homeowners association, you can add the field type of association and then click on none. From here, we need to add the cost of the association fee. I'm going to go ahead and put in $70.85. Now, if I do that, the system is not going to allow me to enter that information. So I'm going to hit validate. As you can see, I'm getting an error message when I do that under association fee. What the system wants you to do is not to add a decimal. So if you have an association fee that is just like this, $70.85, the system wants you to round up to the nearest dollar. So for example, that's going to be $71. I'm going to go and put that there. And then under association fee paid per, this is the frequency of when the association fee is paid. We have monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or yearly. This association fee is paid each month, so we are going to select monthly. We can also enter if there's an application fee, which doesn't apply for this property. We can also mention if there is membership required. For this property, there is not a membership. However, if there is one when you're listing, you do have to enter the membership purchase fee located right here and the frequency of when it's paid. From there, we're going to keep going. We have these fields located here in the middle. Owner, agent, yes or no. If you select yes, it means that the listing agent owns the property. If you select no, it means that the listing agent does not own the property. For this one, we're going to go ahead and put yes, that the listing agent does own the property. And we have this field located right here, which is hardship package. This field deals directly with if the seller has completed a hardship package that they have sent directly to the lender. If they have submitted a hardship package directly to the lender, you can search using that. You can select complete, incomplete, or submitted. Submitted means that they've submitted the hardship package and they are waiting on the bank to get back to them. If this does not apply, simply leave it blank. You do not need to fill that in. We're going to move over to the next field, which is property assessed clean energy. So if the property is a pay style property, if this does not apply, you can simply leave it alone and keep on moving. Next one comes down to your seller, which is special assessment. If there's any assessments allowed, you could select yes or no. And you have the next field, which is special information. Now this field is not commonly used in order to search, but if your property falls within any of these categories, be sure to fill out this section located here. On the right, we have the ability to enter if there is a maintenance fee, a land lease fee, and a recreational lease fee as well. As those do not apply, it is a homeowners association. I do have the association fee located here under association fee. All right, we're going to keep going. We're going to move down to the section agent and office information. This is where we can see our information as the listing agent. If we ever want to add a co-agent, meaning a co-listing agent to the listing, we can put their license number there. However, make sure that if you are ever working with someone that belongs to another association, such as the Fort Lauderdale Association or the Palm Beach Association, their license number is not going to work in order to add them to the listing as the co-agent. What you're going to need to do is click on Find a Co-Agent, and then from there you can look up the co-agent by first and last name. This is going to give you the correct ID. So for example, I'm going to type in John Smith is going to be our co-agent. I'm going to click on Run Search, and you're going to be able to find some of those IDs that you're not used to. Starting with FLL, that means that the agent belongs to the Fort Lauderdale Association. You would just simply click on Fill in order to add that co-agent to the listing. Moving down, we have the next section, which is miscellaneous information, and I want to cover the internet and address on internet options. I'm going to go ahead and select yes for both. All right, now internet yes means, if you select internet yes, it means that you want the listing to appear online. And if you select yes for address on internet, you're telling the system that you want the listing to appear online along with the address. If you select no for address, you're telling the system that you want the listing to appear online. If you select yes for internet and no for address on internet, you're telling the system that you want the listing to appear online, but with the address undisclosed. Now, there is a form required located in Form Simplicity and in Dotloop, and also in the MLS section of our website. You're going to see a section that says MLS Forms and Applications. If you ever have a seller that tells you that they do not want the listing to appear online at all, but they want it in the MLS, you're going to need to fill out this syndication and address display opt-out form. And if your customer also tells you that they want the listing to appear online, but with the address undisclosed, you're going to go right here where you see syndication and address display opt-out form. You're going to need to complete this, send it directly to the MLS department at this email. It's mls@miamiare.com. Again, only in the event that your customer wants the listing in the MLS, but they do not want it to appear online at all. That's going to be option A. And option B is going to be for that seller that wants the listing to appear online, but with the address undisclosed. That's going to be section B. Again, you're going to have your seller as well as yourself and your broker complete this form, and then you're going to email it to mls@miamire.com. All right, for this example, we're going to say yes for internet, address on internet. All right, and we're going to move over to AVM. AVM simply means average valuation module. If you select yes, you're telling programs such as Realist that it's okay to come up with their valuation on how much the property's worth. And if you select no, you're telling systems like Realist that it's not okay to come up with their own valuation on the property. Moving over, we have the field blogging. If you select yes, you're telling other agents it's okay to blog about the property. If you select no, you're simply saying no, it's not okay to blog about the property. The next one is multiple offers accepted by the seller. You can select yes or no. Moving over to the left, we have the field listing type, where we can select the exact type of agreement that we have with the seller. We have exclusive agency, exclusive with exceptions, exclusive right to sell and rent, exclusive variable, and limited service. Go right here where you see MLS policies and procedures, and see page 6 and 7 for listing agreement types. For this one, we're going to select simply exclusive right to sell and rent. And where we see list date, that's going to be based on the agreement date within our listing. We're going to go ahead and select October 1st, and we're going to enter an expiration date of April the 1st. And I want to make sure I mention that the expiration date is only visible to you. Other agents are not able to see when your listing is going to expire within the MLS. Moving over, you have the ability to enter your owner's name and owner's number. If they're going to conduct showings, this is typical of limited service agreements. If that does not apply, you do not have to enter the owner's name or number. Further down, we have occupancy information, where we can select call listing agent. If the property is occupied by the owner, we have owner occupied, tenant occupied, and vacant. If it is occupied by the owner, but you still want to convey that the property owned, I would suggest using owner occupied. And if agents need to call you in order to see the property, under showing instructions, I can click on call listing agent. I can select up to 3 different options for how the property can be shown under showing instructions. So I'm going to select call listing agent. I'm going to also select under this menu, electronic lockbox, call listing agent. Now when I select this, I need to make sure that I go into my Super account and add the lockbox directly to Supra. There is other options farther down within this menu as well, such as showing assist. So if you do want agents to reach out, if you do want agents to be able to schedule showing requests using showing time, make sure that you click on showing assist located here. And once the listing is activated, you're going to be able to create dates when the property is available for showings, and of course include blackout dates if they apply. So I want to repeat one more time. In order to set up showing time for your listing, that listing needs to be in active status first. All right, the next one is okay to advertise. This section deals directly with if your broker allows for other agents to advertise your listing. So if you come here and click on yes attribution required, yes attribution not required, or with written broker approval, and you get this little exclamation mark, it means that your broker has not approved for other agents to advertise your listing. If your broker tells you that it is okay for other agents to advertise your listings and you're getting an error message here, your broker is going to need to log into their Matrix account, go into their office settings, and then make a change for the whole office so that you can select any of these options. Now we're going to go ahead and say no for okay to advertise. We're going to move down to the section URL. This is where you can add your website link, and under video virtual tour, automatically Property Panorama will create a virtual tour of the property. That's going to include the first 5 photos of the property. However, you do have the ability to use your own virtual tour. For example, if you set one up using Matterport, you can go here under Video Virtual Tour and then enter the link that goes directly to the virtual tour that you have saved on websites such as Matterport. Moving down, we have the next field, which is photo instructions. We're going to add additional photos in a little bit, so we are going to select Realtor to upload images 1 through 99. But there's another option here that says allow preferred photographer to upload images. Now this option is specifically for when you go to our website. There's a section that says services. If you go down, you're going to see a section that says preferred photographer program. And then on the right, you're going to see a section that says find a preferred photographer. If you click there, you're going to be able to find photographers that will provide you photos of the property that you can use during the listing process after the property is closed, and those images are royalty free. Those photos, you own the copyright, and you can use them after the property is sold, such as within marketing pieces, and you could use them as a part of your next seller or buyer presentation as well. So again, how did I get here? You go to services and you move down to preferred photographer program, and then you can find all of the photographers that are available located here. All right, now we're pretty much done with this listing. We're going to click on validate. and see if we're missing anything under this final section for financial office information. We do have an exclamation mark, meaning we do have some sections that we have not completed located in these red triangles. Now we did forget tax year, so we're going to come back to tax year. We're going to enter 2023, and under tax, we have the ability to enter up to 3. This is a homestead exempt property, so we're going to go ahead and select tax reflects homestead tax. And under possession, at which point is the buyer going to become in possession of the property, we could select up to 2. We're going to simply click on at closing. From there, I'm going to click on validate, and we no longer have that red circle. It is now letting me know that I have fulfilled this section, and now I can do one of 2 things. Now this comes down to your broker. Some of us have the ability to activate listings without broker approval. Again, that is per the broker. And some of us have the ability to submit the listing so that the broker can look over it, and then they're going to have to activate that listing. Now, either way, once you're done, you're going to click on submit listing. If you have the ability to activate listings, it's going to put that property on the market. If you do not have the ability to activate listings, it's going to send that listing directly to your broker for them to approve it so that it can be added on the market. However, I want to circle back one more time on the very first section that you encounter when you list a property, which is status. As I mentioned, this section is reserved only for if you're going to add that listing as coming soon. If you're not going to add that listing as coming soon, you simply just do not touch this section. You go into the next section and then you build your listing. Now, I'm going to hit submit listing. What that does is that activates the listing. I'm going to pretend that I clicked on submit listing. We're not really going to do that. I don't want to put this property on the market. This is a test listing. But we're going to pretend in our mind that we submitted the listing. It is now active on the market. Once you do that, you can click on add and edit, go under quick modify, open up that listing. And if you want to continue to add photos, you can. You can add attachments as well. And if you want to set up an open house, for example, maybe there's an open house that weekend, you could click on open houses. From there, you can list the type of open house. Is it a broker open, public, virtual broker only, virtual public? You can select the date when it's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and put, for example, Saturday the 5th. I'm going to put public. I'm going to say, for example, that it starts at 12 p.m. until, for example, 3 p.m. Under description, I can mention anything else regarding that showing. For example, if I'm offering any type of beverages or snacks, I can mention that here under description. And this little last section here where you see live stream recorded open house URL. This is in the event that it is a virtual open house. You can select either virtual public or virtual broker only, and then you can enter the URL for everyone to access that live stream or recorded open house. You can just simply put that right here. Once you're done adding any open house information to the listing, simply click on submit. All right, we're going to go back. And another thing that you want to make sure that you do is if you do want to allow agents to request to see the property using showing time, be sure to go right here where you see configure showing time. This is going to allow you to activate for other agents to request to see the property. So you do have allow showing agents to request appointments online. If you do want to allow agents to request the ability to use showing time to see the property, you click on yes. And then from there, you can set up the type of showing. We have in-person and virtual appointments only, and in-person appointments only. Also, make sure to enter any showing restrictions, such as blackout dates. You can enter the start and end time. And if there's just a one-time restriction, you can enter that as well. If there's repeat restrictions, such as it's not available Monday through Friday, you can go ahead and select the start date from there and end date and select, or you could just simply select the dates here. You would just click on save showing restrictions. All right, I'm going to go back to showing instructions. This is also where I can input my information located here. and then I can establish greater details on any restrictions within this section. Once you're done configuring showing time for that listing, simply click on Save, and then within 15 minutes, all of those changes will show up within searches in the MLS. All right, that was a quick rundown on how to add a listing into the MLS. Should you have questions regarding how to enter a listing, we do have a tech support that's available Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, and a tech support available on Saturdays from 10 to 2. Should you want to call them for assistance inputting listings, you could do so by dialing 305-468-7067. Again, 305-468-7067.